HAPS expected destructive power of flying base stations. What is HAPS? It stands for High Altitude Platform Station, 4G or 5 grams. Not a terrestrial network. Non-market network known as NTN. Among non-terrestrial networks, using unmanned aerial vehicles, etc. From the stratosphere. System that provides wide area wireless communication services, covering mountainous regions and isolated islands. Communication network in place. Available even in areas where there is no. The point is a big advantage. This HAPS, towards practical application in 2027. It's getting a lot of attention. PwC, consulting think tank, at PwC Intelligence, tell the director about HAPS's technical details and, toward commercialization. I asked about the latest trends in the skies above the Earth, including in outer space, where attention is focused on flying base stations HAPS. Using aircraft such as communication satellites, sun terrestrial system networks that build communication networks. Unmanned aerial vehicles serving as base stations are prominent among them. It is expected to be the next generation communication infrastructure. It's HAPS. By using HAPS, both 4G and 5G connectivity can be accessed. Terrestrial network does not reach, even in remote islands and mountainous areas, without using a dedicated terminal. On a typical smartphone, seamless conversation and data exchange will be achievable. The reason why apps are attracting attention is, as the need for large capacity data transmission increases, traditional geostationary Earth orbit via a geostationary orbit at a height of 36,000 kilometers. For satellite communications, the ground distance fulfills the necessary criteria. It's a big technical constraint. In response to this, LEO, low Earth orbit, the use of low orbit up to an altitude of 2,000 kilometers, it's spreading to cover the entire planet. Because it necessitates thousands of satellites, realization is challenging from a cost perspective. Occurs in this. Fill the gap in the current coverage area. As a practical measure, draw focus. Research and development is underway globally. What is the difference between HAPS and satellite communication using aircraft? In HAPS, involve a rocket launch. Then satellite communications. Technical risks? Much lower. In addition, because it is in high code, one communication coverage area, with a radius of 100 kilometers, market-based station radius of several kilometers to 10. It also has the advantage of being much wider than a few kilometers. Furthermore, due to its very low altitude compared to communication satellites, electrical delay is 0 in one direction, down to 3 milliseconds. It can be suppressed. HAPS is even in NTN, lower altitude than satellite communications. Communication satellites are generally used after raising more than a decade. It is expected to be used. So what's troubling is, to a place that exists in outer space, perform maintenance, physically introducing the latest technology. The point is that it's difficult, against the occurrence of HAPSes, due to landing maintenance. Being able to incorporate the latest technology in a timely manner, it will be an advantage. Uninterrupted communication due to long-term flights of cleaning rights. Towards practical application of probabilistic HAPS. The key is, install a base station, unmanned aerial vehicles, the so-called HAPS-KIDA, both domestically and internationally. As the commercialization of HAPS progresses, as a flying base station, utilizing unmanned aerial vehicles in the cleaning area, realize a communication network with the ground. Construction of a high-altitude communication base station platform is expected. The development of the HAPS machine. It is currently in progress. The size of business opportunities as a component of space communications. Previous global supergiants are taking on the challenge, even domestically. In a test flight, using LT communication in the cleaning area. Successful phone calls, using beautiful words and conducting flight and communication demonstration experiments. There are also places the HAPS machine is, in order to continue to maintain communication as much as possible. It is desirable to continue flying for a long time. Therefore, the direction of airframe development is reduce weight, deployed in the wings, with solar panels, powered by a motor. The method of moving the propeller, it has become mainstream. Currently, at around 100 kilometers per hour, it is possible to fly continuously for about 2 months. This has been confirmed through various demonstrations. HAPS is also called a stratospheric platform. Not unrelated to flight time. What is stratosphere? Points to the sky above the Earth at an altitude of 1,050 kilometers. Unmanned aerial vehicles for excavation. They all fly at an altitude of around 20 kilometers. Several reasons contribute to this fact. First and foremost, the density of air is quite thin. compared to the ground. It is reportedly approximately 1/20th the density. Less air resistance during flight. The consumption of energy can be restricted. Moreover, the climate shows stability. In the cleaning area, ozone absorbs the sun's ultraviolet rays. The higher the altitude, the higher the temperature. Conversely, the lower the altitude, the lower the temperature. As a result, at an altitude of around 20 kilometers, this is because stagnation of air is unlikely to occur. The altitude of HAPS it is also exquisite in that respect. 3 forms in which apps communicate with the ground. 1. Base station, without a connection to the terrestrial core network. Ground station and communication with the HAPS machine. There is a connection to the core network of the 2 markets, base station, ground station and communication with the HAPS machine. 3 smartphones and IoT devices, etc. Direct connection to HAPS machine. There are 3 forms of communication between the HAPS aircraft and the ground. In HAPS, with the starting side, condition of the receiver, by combining them based on the circumstances, to achieve communication that was traditionally challenging. For instance, filling the initial gap in the coverage area. It is a combination of 13 that realizes communication backhaul. Consequently, remote and mountainous areas will benefit. Communication infrastructure was damaged. Communication will be possible in disaster-hit zones. On the other hand, we are developing new applications in mobile communications. The third is to collect. Combined with 2, for aircraft and ships. Besides high-capacity internet communication, wide-ranging IoT services, temporary use at construction sites, etc., using more than half base stations, development of industrial networks, etc., it becomes a reality. As you can see from these, HAPS works in conjunction with existing mobile communication networks. Conversely, HAPS's services alone are, it is not envisaged at this time, an international standardization organization for mobile communication systems. 3GPP, the third generation partnership project. 5G antennas. Develop initial specifications. NTN in the near future. Mobile communication infrastructure in the market. The direction that it will be seamlessly incorporated has solidified. The lowest elevation excavations in the NTN. It should be the best link between earth and sky. The end user might not be consciously aware of this. As part of the overall telecommunications infrastructure, it is used without realizing it. It feels like, when will the commercial services of HAPS start? The commercialization of HAPS is imminent, even domestically. Based on data obtained from test flights, efforts were made to resolve technical issues, and by 2027, several entities are planning to initiate commercial services. Additionally, in the year 2022, including HAPS, promote the space business. From 2022, lend its own HAPS network to mobile carriers. Some manufacturers plan their business to commercialize the app. By the swirling of the gas, the direction of the antenna of the release skill has changed. There is a problem that terrestrial communications are disrupted. In addition, continuing, it is necessary to work on extending the duration of release skills by fuselage turning. As a solution to the problem, companies have already, by antenna bobbing, we are working to ensure communication stability. Also, with regard to longer flight hours, new technologies such as all-solid-state batteries have made breakthroughs. It looks like it will be. Formulation of rules for using HAPS. First of all, due to the revision of Japan's aviation law in 2022, drones are allowed to fly out of sight, even fly the cleaning, right? Communication service using unmanned aircraft. Regarding legal interpretation, currently, business operators and the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications. Consultations by the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism are ongoing, with an eye on the commercialization of HAPS. The development of operational rules will advance as well. Also international, if you look at the movement. International Telecommunication Union. In November 2023, ITU. Held in Dubai. At the World Wireless Communication Conference WRC. Various standardization aimed at commercialization of CUPS. It was deliberated in the year 2020. Domestically established. Even in the HAPS Alliance. Cross-industry. Work is underway to create a collaborative system, ensure safety, and establish related systems. Participating companies from Japan and overseas. Working on excavations. Hundreds of patents including. We are also starting to see movement in player aggregation at the moment. Starlink is better. While practical applications are advancing, excavation is also a promising technology. It's being noticed. Both remain critical technologies poised to shape the future of telecommunications infrastructure. You can tell. Cost comparison. It will be as follows. Initial cost. Starlink. Satellite launch costs. High price per aircraft. Hundreds of millions of yen. Huge investment required to deploy thousands of satellites. Running cost requires regular satellite replacement, trajectory correction or ongoing costs for operation and management. The development cost of the HAPS flight vehicle is relatively low ground infrastructure development, minimum running costs, low cost operation due to solar power generation, airframe reusable, maintenance costs, relatively inexpensive, cost comparison points. Starlink needs big initial investment. HAPS is a small start in a small area, however, depending on the possible region and purpose. Cost efficiency varies. In conclusion, excavation is more flexible. It is predicted to be highly cost effective. If you look at it this way, services by communication satellites such as Starlink and what is HAPS? A custodial relationship seems to be established. We appreciate you tuning in today. Kindly complete the registration process for the program.